everyone. I'm Melissa McAllister, and you're listening to The Melissa Made Show. Now, for decades, I've dedicated myself to helping women break the cycle of dieting, navigate through all the fads, and change their lives through my nutrition coaching. Now, each week, I'm going to talk about everything from deep nutrition, mindset, self-care, the ideal workout routine, tips on how and why to implement intermittent fasting in your life, my favorite recipes that are not only crowd pleasers, but they're actually healthy for you, and so much more. Now, with small and consistent changes, you can defy aging while living a happier, healthier, and more heart-filled life. I'm so excited to show you it's possible with the right strategies that are so simple to adopt. Hello and welcome to the Melissa Made Show. And today I want to talk to you about meal timing. So specifically about not only eating within a shorter window, but what is the best time frame in the day to eat? And I want to preface this by saying by just not eating before you go to bed, even if you don't call that time restricted eating, or if you call it intermittent fasting, that in and of itself is just very good for you. So you don't even have to think intermittent fasting or time restricted eating in order for you to have benefit by just reducing or extending, I should say, the amount of time between your last meal and when you go to bed. But today I want to talk to you because I've just heard a lot of research lately from the podcasts and the YouTube videos that I've been listening to on the emerging science of when to eat, because it's not just a matter of, hey, let's not eat the minute we wake up to the minute we go to sleep. It's healthier for you to shorten that window a little bit. Not only that, but now their research is showing that your body is so smart, and it actually has times of the day that it does a better job of metabolizing your food than it does at other times. But keep in mind, if you are the kind of person who has a set schedule and it works beautifully for you, you don't have to really mess with that. This is just for people who can't seem to find that sweet spot, or are really looking to kind of maybe take it to the next level because they're very good at scheduled feeding windows. And they're like, you know what, I can eat at this time or this time. It really doesn't matter which one is best for me, and I'm going to give that one a try and see if it works. So that's kind of what I'm presenting this to you today. Is for those kind of people. I don't want you to think that if you have a great feeding schedule that you just feel wonderful at this time frame, that you have to switch it, because you don't by any means. But Sachin Panda, Dr. Sachin Panda, is probably one of him and Mark Mattson have done so much research on fasting and how it helps with longevity and cognition and all that stuff. So a lot of the information I've gotten from them, and there's a couple of studies that I will cite for you, but I really want to encourage you to look up Mark Mattson, and then also to read the Circadian Code from Sachin Panda. That book is wonderful, and his studies on the body's circadian rhythm and eating is impressive. So some of the things that he shared about that is that he does a lot of studies on mice. And keep in mind, the reason they pick mice and rats is because their digestive system is very, very similar to humans. Same with the brain. And so to be able to study with mice and rats instead of humans is easier. And they can come to a lot of the same conclusions, although there are also a lot of human studies as well. But one study that really caught my attention is when they let mice eat all from sunup to sundown versus giving them that specific window, there was weight loss for the mice that had the time restriction. Even if the calories were the same, but they ate it in a time restriction versus all day long, they actually lost more weight during the time restriction than all day long, with calories not changing whatsoever. It was 100% timing. So that was found in the Internal Journal of Obesity, and it's called Timing of Food Intake Predicts weight loss effectiveness. So if you don't do intermittent fasting, and you just give it a try and see if it works for you to shorten that window. Don't eat right after you wake up, and definitely don't eat before you go to bed, and shorten that window 2 hours on each bookend, 3 hours on each bookend, maybe try for 4 hours on each bookend, and see if that helps with your weight loss efforts. So, there was also some studies that were done that the most optimal eating window is between 8 and 11 hours. And Sachin Panda says this is because the health benefits that you get from eating within a 12-hour window actually double at 11 hours and double again at 10 hours and so on until you reach about that 8-hour window. And once you eat that 8-hour window, it becomes less feasible, because anything less than 8 hours is truly hard for people to stick to long term. But if you can stick to 8 hours, 8 to 9 hours is what they are finding is the ultimate eating window. But 10 hours is still okay. 11 hours is good. And even 12 hours is good. 13, 14, 15, 16, not so good. So if you can push yourself to that 12-hour eating window, I'm high-fiving you, because that has benefit. But if you can get yourself all the way down to that 8 or the 9-hour eating window and then fast the rest of the time, that's where you're going to see the biggest changes in your health and in your weight loss efforts if you're looking to lose weight. So listening to Lane, is it Norton or Horton? I think it's Norton. I listen a lot to him, but they always refer to him as Lane. He was talking in a podcast that I was listening to about the benefits of eating protein in the morning. And that's something I've been sharing with my clients a lot lately. So if you can get that 8 or 9, that optimal 8 or 9 hour eating window, it's actually very good to kind of shift it closer to the beginning part of the day, because of your cells, they actually are on a circadian rhythm. Science is finding out, and like the way that you use insulin and your muscle protein synthesis is way stronger in the earlier hours of the day than later in the day. So if you can eat earlier, then you are going to do a better job with, the carbohydrates that you eat and using that protein for that muscle synthesis that we all want. We all want to grow muscle. So to eat earlier is better than to eat later. Better. But all in all, if you can still stay within that 8 or 9 hour window, and if you eat, because maybe you stay up a little bit later and you eat a little bit later, don't stress about it. But if you're like, you know what, I can eat from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock and be fine versus noon to 8, give it a try, because the science and the studies show that you can optimize your muscle protein synthesis by eating earlier in the day. And they say, and I don't know how big of a study this was, but they say that 10 o'clock a.m. is kind of the cutoff period for your body and maximizing muscle protein synthesis. So I always highly encourage my clients to have lots of protein for breakfast. If I'm doing one of my assessments and I see their breakfast and there's maybe 10 or 15 grams or even 0 grams of protein, I'm like, oh, that's the first thing we want to do, is we want to up that to at least 30, 40 grams of protein for breakfast. It's going to keep you satiated all day long, not all day long, but for several hours. And not only that, that protein is really going to be put to good use. So keep that in mind. So I have personally been trying to eat closer to 10 to 6. I used to be an 11 to 7er. And all of this research that's emerging, I'm just kind of shifting it a little bit. Plus, I'm going to bed earlier to have my breakfast around 10 a.m. so that I can have lots of protein to help all that strength training that I'm trying to do, because I'm still 4 years later trying to build the booty. So girl over here is doing a lot of squats, and I want to make sure that I build that muscle. So I want, to have that protein, that a good shot of protein by 10 a.m. in the morning, which I think is really cool science. And it makes sense. You should be winding down in every aspect. You know, this is why we don't really work late at night. This is why you shouldn't do anything really stressful late at night. You know, this is why some people say not to do really high intensity exercise late at night, because it disrupts your sleep. So, you know, why would you also eat late at night? Because it obviously does disrupt your sleep. And speaking of sleep, have you tried countless diets, but you're still seeking your nutrition sweet spot? Are you trying to get results on your health journey to feel your best without being too restrictive? Now, I know how you feel. I've done the diet thing, but there never was that one that totally worked for me. And this is exactly why I developed the MAID diet. Now, I found that rather than restrictions, it's best to have a set of guidelines that allow you to customize based on your preferences and bio-individuality while staying on track with your health and fitness goals. I found the nutrition sweet spot. And as a health and nutrition expert, I get asked all the time what, when, and how I eat. And as someone who's passionate about education and helping others, I want to share that with you. Now, the MAID Diet ebook lays it all out for you, taking the guesswork out of dieting. The MAID Diet is a lifestyle plan that incorporates moderate protein, adequate fat, decreased carbs, and an introduction to intermittent fasting. The ebook gets right down to business by answering your most frequently asked questions. It includes thoughtfully designed recipes and a 7-day sample meal plan to start you off right. It will honestly kickstart your weight loss journey and have you losing inches in your very first week. Now, intermittent fasting combined with these nutritional guidelines is honestly the piece that so many people have been missing when trying to get results. This ebook has all the information you need in a format that is condensed and to the point so that you can get to your results. If you're ready to get started, the MAID Diet ebook is available immediately on my website for just $9.99. So head over to melissamaidonline.com/MAID Diet to take action towards feeling your best today. And once you do, oh my gosh, please let me know it's working for you. I am so honored to be a part of your health journey. Okay, back to the show. By eating earlier in the day and getting some of that food through your body, you know that, because I've said this a million times, that if you eat right before you go to bed, it really disrupts your quality of sleep. But also the process of falling asleep, because I'm sure you know this, but in order for your body to drift off into sleep, your body temperature has to lower. You have to cool down a little bit. And guess what's going to keep your body temperature from lowering? Digesting. You've got digestion takes a lot of work. And if your body is still in the early stages of digestion and you go to lay down, you've got too much blood flow going on, too much energy happening for your body to actually be able to rest and relax and let that body temperature drop so that you can get into a better sleep. And then that just goes into the whole thing of, if you don't get a good night's sleep, then your ghrelin the next day is higher, which makes you feel hungrier. And it's just a cycle. So to sum this up, the studies and all the research that I'm seeing now are really pointing towards eating, obviously, within an 8 or 9 hour period in the day, optimal. Doing it earlier in the day, optimal, because the way that your body processes the insulin and how it uses the protein to help build muscles is so much better in the morning than it is towards the evening. Not only that, but eating earlier and getting it through your system and having many hours before you go to sleep will not only help you have a better night's sleep, a much better night's sleep, but it's also going to help you fall asleep faster because your body is able to lower that body temperature to allow you to drift off into a nice deep sleep, when if you have food in your belly, it makes that very, very difficult. So here we are, taking the wonderful world of fasting that is just proving time and time again to be very, very good for us. And so much so that research is really diving in. There's a lot of human studies coming out about fasting because they're seeing how ridiculously good it is for you. So they're finding out these little tweaks that, eating all your food earlier in the day versus later in the day, and making sure that you're getting lots of protein earlier in the day because of that protein muscle synthesis. is just fascinating stuff to me. And so anytime I hear something like this comes out, I want to share it with you. So I'd love to know what your eating window is. Like I said, I'm trying really hard to stick to a 10 to 6. Very hard. Sometimes what I'm finding is, because my husband, and this may be you as well, he is busy. And so he wants to eat, between 6:30 and 7. Grandma over here would rather eat 5:30 to 6. And so I'm slowly trying to get him to come to the dark side and to eat a little bit earlier in the day, so that we can definitely make sure our body's nice and relaxed when we go to sleep. But it's been a struggle. But the last thing I'll leave you with is, even if you can only do this a couple of times a week, so beneficial. If you find yourself, because maybe you and your friends always do happy hour after work on Friday, and there's just no way that you cannot eat past 8 o'clock. Cool. The days that you can control it, or the days that you can make it a schedule for you, say Monday through Thursday, perfection. Just do it as many times as you can. It's not an all or nothing kind of a thing. It can be very much so a few times a week that you find yourself doing that, because that's incredibly beneficial to the body. So as always, my friends, I hope that you wake up feeling prepared to eat early and have your protein. And I hope you go to bed feeling proud because you didn't eat right before you went to bed. Perfect. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that. I will talk to you guys soon. Have a fantastic day. Wow, we've reached the end. But before I leave you, I'd love to hear from you. After all, it's not every day that someone reaches out and asks for your opinion. And to me, your opinion does matter. So please share this episode with anyone that you think needs to hear this message. And remember to rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. My name is Melissa McAllister. And until next time, thank you for being your own health advocate.